Hey, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Keith. I'm a holistic health coach. And in this video, and in a bunch of videos I'm going to be doing, I want to just take an individual concept, an individual philosophical / spiritual concept, and kind of break it down, just something quick. And for me personally, something that has helped me a lot, something that I live by, I do day to day or on a daily basis, is fill my mind with positive concepts, positive ideas, just because it's so easy to get swayed in any which direction in life. So it's really important that we, just like eating well is super important, and the food that we put into our bodies is super important, the ideas and information that we put into our mind is so important as well, and it makes such a big, or has such a big impact on the way that we experience life. So I'm going to do a bunch of these videos. This is going to be number one, but just breaking down all of the different things or any of the things that I either have come across or do come across that help me. And I think that it's just important to preface with saying that it's very easy to underestimate how much a shift in our perspective can change everything else that we're seeing or experiencing in our lives. So the idea that I want to talk about today is the concept, and this is a widely practiced spiritual concept. I learned about it from the book Zen and the Art of Happiness, which is a really, really good book. I highly recommend it to anybody that wants like a compact, it's very easy read, and it will without a doubt shift your mindset, shift your perspective. But the idea is to adopt the mindset that everything that happens to us is exactly what should be happening. Every next thing that happens is the best possible thing that could happen. And it's a tough one to really implement. To me, this is the idea of faith. This is living with faith in something bigger, a bigger picture than just what our limited minds can comprehend. And it's easy when, life is going smoothly to accept that like this is exactly what needs to happen. But when the rubber meets the road and when it really matters, is being able to embody that and remember it when things aren't necessarily going well, or when difficult things are happening, or when things that are happening that are exactly the opposite of what we think they should be or what we want. And that's when, and there's a couple reasons why, which I'll break down, but that's when it really matters. That's when it can be a life-changing concept. Because it's so easy to fall into the idea that, again, from our limited perspective, that we know what's good and what's bad. But if we can take everything, and not that we see something negative happening and don't work to change it or don't care about it, but the idea of trusting that it's the best thing for us, number one, it allows us to see everything as a lesson or a gift in a sense. So the good stuff is obvious, we get it, that's inherently easy to accept. But if we can take things that are difficult or that are not what we want to be happening and say, you know what, I trust that even though this might be difficult right now, even though it might not be obvious to me, I believe that there's something good that can come out of this. I believe that it will teach me something that maybe I can help somebody else with. Maybe it'll teach me something that will help me overcoming another issue. Or maybe just this chaos or this storm is coming to clear the path for me. And that's a really mature idea. It's very easy to back out or just to kind of break down in the midst of something difficult happening. It's a very, especially spiritually mature idea to be able to look at that and say, you know what, maybe I need a new path cleared in my life. Maybe what is happening is going to do that. And what it helps us to do to be open in this way, or what this concept helps us to do, I should say, is to be open. Expect or trust that everything that happens, every next thing is the best possible thing that could happen. What it allows us to do is not shut down, to be open, to see the lesson in it. And kind of paradoxically, when we don't fight against the difficulty that's happening in our lives, when we just embrace it, accept that it's there, and remain open with it, we move through it a lot quicker than if we try to fight against it or like run away from it, which is, you know, what a lot of us learn to do. And the example that is used in the book Zen and the Art of Happiness is like, say you get fired from your job and you think that it's a bad thing. You're really depressed over it. You're pissed off. Like that was the job that was meant for you in your head. That's what you thought. So because you're looking at it that way, now you go home and you start drinking and maybe doing drugs or like doing things that are in an attempt to deal with the way that your perspective on the situation, your idea that this is bad. And what ends up happening is that, I don't even remember the exact example, but the opposite example could be something like you get fired and you say, you know what? Maybe it's time to evolve my career. Maybe there's something better out there for me. So instead of going home and getting drunk and sitting around and like getting miserable and starting to get depressed because you're not moving anymore and you're sitting on the couch and you're like running through whatever money you had saved up, you're saying, you know what? Maybe there's something better out there for me. So you start looking. And you start looking at different jobs that might be open, thinking like, what do I really want to do? Like my old job, maybe it was good, but it wasn't what I actually wanted. I knew deep down there was something, you know, more in life. There was something that I wanted to do more. So now you start looking at different things, and maybe they're even like a little bit of a stretch, but because you see this as an opportunity, you start to read or like to brush up on your interview skills, brush up on your communication skills, maybe like really push yourself working out to stay disciplined, to stay in your schedule, in your routine so that you're ready. And then something comes up. Yeah, an opportunity comes up, maybe one that you didn't even expect. And it's like an obvious synchronicity. But it totally depends on your attitude and the path that you take or the path that we take based on how we view the initial situation, the initial challenge. So by viewing it one way, it's totally possible that we wind up in a completely different direction, having a completely different outcome. And it doesn't even have to be that developed, that complex. The bottom line is that like we don't know why certain things happen. We don't know why sometimes we get sick or why we get, you know, lose a job or something that is difficult, especially emotionally or as a human, to deal with. We don't know why they happen. But our attitude toward whatever happens, it doesn't mean we're not emotional about it. It doesn't mean that we don't feel it. It doesn't mean that we don't care. None of that has to be left out to say or to develop the mindset and the attitude that whatever happening or whatever happens is the best possible thing that can happen to me. And then to grow from there, to move from there, to act and to take action in that direction with that mindset. That will result in a totally different life lived when we wind up on our deathbed, which all of us will someday, which is another extremely important concept that I would like to cover in another video. But we are all going to lay down to die one day. Maybe not even lay down, maybe like more suddenly. We never know when we're going to die, but at some point we're going to have this snap. Everybody has that kind of moment where there's like a time slows down and there's a review. And in that moment, a life lived with the attitude that everything is happening for my benefit, that everything winds up being for my higher good. Maybe not my pleasure in the moment, maybe not like to help my feelings feel good or to like boost my confidence in staying where I am right now, but that overall it's a good thing. That mentality is going to equate to a totally different life lived than one of being controlled by, I want something to happen, if it doesn't, that's bad, and like I'll have to fight against it. Totally different things. And I think that this is a concept, and I think it's something that it is a concept that changed. I was going through some really difficult stuff with depression and addiction, and it's something that really helped me to shift the way that I was seeing my situation, seeing life, and it's something that I still use all the time. And it's a shift in mentality that can take that we can use to take all of the stuff that's going on in our lives, blanket it with the idea that all of this has happened for my greatest good, because it can. It's a choice. Like anything that happens is a choice of whether it winds up being good or bad for us. But when we apply this attitude to what happens, what is happening, what our current situation is, and then realize that we have the control, we have the power to control our mentality for everything that happens moving forward, it changes the way that we move through life. So that's, I think, enough on that concept. I appreciate you watching. Like I said, I'm going to just start a series with these things, because even talking about it, like even talking about this one, it pulls it out of me and it brings it fresh into my mind. So it's just as helpful for me as I hope it is for you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. If you want to get in contact with me personally, I have a link down below to my website. I do one-on-one coaching, mainly based, like I said, I'm a holistic health coach, but mainly based around starting to take control of health, get healthy, happy, fit, feel good. So if you're interested in that, look at the link down below, or you can click the link down below. And again, I appreciate your time, and I'll see you in the next video.